I guess you could.
Let me get closer. Tell them how to find you.
You could probably go ahead and find me on YouTube.
There's people beside us.
Is that the long boy?
Yeah.
Camera does not do it justice.
Leave it.
Your back window just fell.
Oh, this is even worse than me. I'm a link bending machine.
Fluffernutter in them.
A bird just pooped on me.
How you spell crawl? Is there an E on the end? I go over chance.
Please subscribe. Gentlemen, in a world where SCX24s are getting crazier and crazier, more clearance, carrier bearings, triple bend links, bigger tires, 1.8s, super wide, super long, I think it's time I take it back a notch. I'm gonna bring you guys along for today's build. The goal for today's build, I bought a Carnage metal short chassis. Here we go. Where was I going with this? What was I gonna say? The goal for today's video, I want to do a simple build but keep it as fun, as capable and fun as possible. I have a couple Lexan bodies that were painted for me. I'll give the guy a shout out in a minute. Let me show you the bodies. I sent him a couple clear cliffhanger bodies. I told him do whatever you want. I didn't give him any type of ideas or directions, and this is what I got back. Let me give the guy a shout out real quick. Dirty Dan. This is the guy that painted the bodies for me. Anyways, the goal. We're gonna use Carnage metal chassis, Lexan body, and keep it hopefully simple enough for new people to follow along with, but at the same time, a capable, fun build. So, with that being said, let's just get started. For anyone unfamiliar with the Carnage chassis, you get 1,000 different pieces with it. So that was the reason I chose this to be like our simple build. This should be easy for someone to follow because you don't have to source any weird stuff. It comes with magnets, it comes with magnet mounts, it comes with sliders. We should be good for everything for the body to easily sit down on it. And yeah, that's why I chose this chassis. Link choice that we're using, these are C-bolt double bend links from Mayos Designs. That means C10 front length, these are the lowers, these are the uppers. And then deadbolt rear, these are the upper rear links, and then these are the lower rear links. And I think this is still keeping it fairly simple because these were bought just like this. This isn't like a double bend link that I extended and bent myself. So I think we're still following the simple theme. Rear axle that we're using is 1000% completely stock. Nothing special about it. Stock gears on the inside, stock axle shafts, stock rear link riser thing, fully stock rear axle. Rear links are all attached. Everything seems to move smoothly, nothing's hitting, nothing's rubbing. I think we're good. I did want to quickly talk about these holes right here. It's where the upper rear link is mounted. This is a spot where you'd want to move forward or backwards if you wanted to tilt your axle at all. So like if your drive shaft ends up hanging below your links, you could move this back some, which would push the top of the axle back and kind of tilt it, and that would shoot your drive shaft up more to kind of hide it out of the way. Onto the front axle. Also, if anyone sees my front link, let me know. I just realized I only installed one. These are the uppers. Okay, no idea where the link went. I will worry about it later. Let's move on to the front axle. I have the diff cover torn off, and we just put a new gear in it. Here's what we're using. Injora 212, 33% overdrive. That means the front axle will spin 33% faster than the rear, which is good. I've talked about this quite a few times, but it just helps pull the truck along. Also, I went ahead and cut this area. I still think this is under the simple mods because this is as simple as just taking these, which is what I did, and kind of carving it out. The spot that I'm looking at, shoot, I just dropped a bunch of stuff. Daggone it. Okay, so this is the stock untouched one, and I'm looking at this area here, and then you can see this one, how much I chopped it out. Same on this side. Obviously you want to make sure that the holes are still usable for the knuckle. And for our drive shafts, to get the good steering, this is what I'm using. These are cheap on Amazon. It's also regular length. They make extended ones and they make regular length. This is regular. Axle shafts installed. They just slide right in. And then just a generic brass diff cover. Nothing special about that. Next up, brass knuckles, and that should be the majority of the front axle done. Using a trio brass knuckle, any brass knuckle will work fine. And at this point, I just kind of go back and forth with it to make sure the steering angle is what I'm going to want it to be. You can kind of see, like, as you go back and forth with it, if it's hitting anywhere, if anything else needs trimmed. Axles together. Next up, servo mount. Injora adjustable servo mount. Unfortunately it's red, but I already had this piece, and I like these because you can adjust them. So the 2 bolts here, the 2 bolts here, that moves these ears back and forth, and then that'll move your servo back and forth. So I've probably spent 15 minutes rooting through stuff trying to find the front link, and look, it was attached, it was just bent down. I think I'll leave this in the video just to show how much of a process this always is. Alright, I'm going to attach the front axle next. Notice these upper links here, how the bend is upside down. That's for clearance up here, like if your motor's right here or your battery, that bend is to help avoid anything up there. So, next up, shocks. RC Lion 33mm cheapos from Amazon. I think these are, okay, $17. Front shocks are on, and they're in no particular spot. For now, I just kind of put them wherever, and then once I have wheels and tires on, I can go back and kind of adjust as needed to make sure nothing's rubbing and to check the ride height. Rear shocks are mounted. Again, no particular hole, they're just mounted to be there. Next up, servo. This is my budget servo recommendation, 20 bucks on Amazon. Servo installed, metal steering link installed. You definitely want some type of metal steering link. Once you start upgrading your truck, the stock plastic one is going to be too flexy. It's just not going to be enough. I think at this point we're going to mount the body. I'm getting ready to take a break, and this is going to be sitting for a while, maybe even overnight. So this is perfect time to mount the body. Wheels and tires, extremely temporary. I just threw them on so I know, like, forward and backward where I want the body at, just to help line it up. Magnet mount right here. Magnet mount right here. These came with the Carnage chassis. Check out how perfect this is for this body. The magnet mounts line up. There's a flat spot right here in the back it lines up with. That's hard to do with one hand. And then it lines up right underneath the hood. So this is going to be an easy one to mount. This body is meant to be like a C10 length body. Since we're running a C-bolt, it's going to look a bit extended. So that's why I wanted to make sure I kind of have the body sitting where I want it to be. Carnage also includes magnets. My favorite glue, E6000. Right here's my dripping pile whenever we leak. Oh, I got stuff stuck to it. This is hard to do with one hand, sorry. Shoot. I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue. I'm doing this through the camera. I'm probably using way too much. Rear magnets plus glue is in, and now I'm going to cover them with painter's tape and wrap that around there. This just helps hold them in place and make sure they don't get glued to anything else, because I'm next going to put the body on it. I'm going to do the same step with the front. Magnet, magnet, and then painter's tape. Both magnet mounts are glued and taped, and from this point I put a magnet on top of each one of these. What's going on here? There we go. No glue or anything, I'm just setting it here. And then the body, and then I grab more magnets to grab through the body. Now, at this point, again, nothing's glued except the original magnets. So at this point is where I'm moving it left to right, forward to back, just to kind of see the fitment. I'm very picky about the body fitment, so I'm trying to see, don't worry about the ride height, I'm just trying to see where I want the wheel wells lined up with the tires. Once I'm happy with how everything's going to fit, we'll go back to these magnets. This is where the tape also comes in handy. Once I put the body on, in case the glue like seeps out and drips down, it's only going to get stuck to the tape, which will just peel off later. I'm going to put down the camera so I have two hands for this, but I'm basically going to line up the body and set it down on the glue. I set the body down on the glue, and then I put, again, no glue, but I put the magnets on the top to reach through and kind of hold everything tight together. I was making sure I'd be able to still steer, again, temporary wheels and tires, but I wanted to have that clearance there to steer without having to cut the body anymore. So I think at this point we'll take a break and let the glue dry. I'm happy so far. This is cool. Okay, this has been sitting long enough. Glue is dry enough that I was able to pull the body off, so this can just sit off to the side for now. And let's continue. Just a quick little test to make sure everything's working. Using the Orange Pancake Mofo motor, stock transmission, just a stock plastic transmission. This is the Furatech Lizard ESC, and the motor and ESC would be swapped out for whatever you would want, your preference. I chose these two because I already had them, and I've just been taking trucks apart and reusing all my electronics. That way I don't have to keep buying more stuff. So the only reason I'm using these two things, I already had them, and yeah. FlySky GT5 micro receiver, and then here's the battery. Still undecided on wheels and tires. I've just been tinkering with a couple different setups, different brass pieces, but something I do want to do now that we have the body mounted. Where can I put this at? I do want to make a very subtle trim. I'm just going to take a little marker and like trace along this slider and then keep going, and I'm just going to trim that very small section of the body off. That'll work. The goal was just a very subtle cut, but I still wanted to make use of the clearance that we do have instead of the body hanging down. I think this is what we've ended up with. Still kind of unsure about the tires, Proline trenchers. I know they work well on my rocks, but I'm not sure if I wanted to use something bigger or not. We'll go with this for now, and I can always swap stuff out later. These are Mofo RC wheels with Carnage rings. The main important thing about the wheels is the front is using brass rings, and the rear is using aluminum inner rings, so even more weight on the front. And I like these Mofo wheels because that little inner hub piece in there. They make different sizes. So because of that, I was able to get this a bit wider using a little bit wider of a hub. Before we go test it, reminder to myself, put a clip in of the weight of the truck. Shout out Nacho Colors for Skills. This is with the battery installed. Not planning on getting too many clips. I think the goal here is just do 3 or 4 lines, I guess, to kind of see how the truck... Oh, there's a frog. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Cool. What was I saying? I think the goal, I'm just going to try and get like 4 or 5 lines to kind of see how the truck acts. Nice. That was cool. Nice. Final thoughts? This thing rips. I was expecting to have to come home after testing it and make some adjustments, but I think we're good to go. So I forgot to take the tape off. I just wanted to quickly show the shock positioning in case anybody wanted to like directly copy this. I think this will be another good test truck for tire testing. This seems like a pretty good like basic build that does well. So I think because of that, we will use this to test different tires. I think this should be a fairly easy build for newer people to copy. Again, motor and ESC interchangeable, whatever you want to use, wheels and tires. I think the main thing about this is just the weight up front with the overdrive. Cheap shocks, cheap servo. Sweet. I do have 2 more of these chassis. I have another short one and also a Gladiator one. So expect those in the future. But I think that's it for this video. I'm happy with this. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
Whoosh.